My name is Maya Johnson, and for 28 years, I'd been the family embarrassment. Not because I'd done anything wrong, not because I'd failed at life, but because I didn't fit the image my family wanted to project. I grew up in South Atlanta. Our neighborhood wasn't fancy, but it was home. Mom worked double shifts at the hospital. Dad drove trucks cross-country. My older brother Marcus and I shared a bedroom until I was 12. We weren't poor, but we definitely weren't rich. Marcus was always the golden child. Star athlete. Straight A's. Full scholarship to Georgia Tech. He graduated, got an engineering job at a Fortune 500 company, and immediately started dating women who came from money. His tastes changed fast. Designer clothes. Luxury cars. A condo in Buckhead that cost more than our childhood home. I took a different path. After high school, I went to community college. Studied business administration while working full-time at a property management company. Mom was disappointed. Dad didn't understand why I wasn't pursuing a 4-year degree like Marcus. "You're wasting your potential," Mom said during one particularly brutal Thanksgiving dinner. "Look at your brother. Look at what he's accomplished." Marcus just smiled. He brought his girlfriend that year, a blonde named Brittany who wrinkled her nose at Mom's sweet potato pie and asked if we had anything less ethnic. I kept my head down, worked hard, learned everything I could about real estate, property values, tenant management, and development opportunities. My boss, Mr. Chin, saw something in me. He started teaching me about investment properties, about how to spot undervalued assets, about the power of strategic acquisitions. When I was 23, I bought my first property, a small duplex in a transitioning neighborhood. Everyone thought I was crazy. "You're throwing your money away," Dad said. "That area's dangerous." Marcus laughed. "Maya thinks she's a real estate mogul now."
Cute.
I didn't argue. I just renovated that duplex, rented both units at market rate, and used the cash flow to save for my next purchase. Then my next. Then my next. By 25, I owned 6 properties. By 27, I had a portfolio of 18 units generating consistent monthly income. I lived modestly, drove a 10-year-old Honda, and wore clothes from Target. Every dollar went back into acquisitions. My family had no idea. Marcus got married 3 years ago to a woman named Victoria. She came from old money. Her family owned a textile manufacturing business, lived in a mansion in Marietta, belonged to an exclusive country club. Victoria made it clear from day one that I wasn't her kind of people. "Your sister is so urban," she told Marcus at their engagement party. I was standing right there. "Does she always dress like that?" I was wearing jeans and a nice blouse. Apparently not nice enough. Marcus didn't defend me. He just shrugged. Maya's always been different. The exclusion was gradual at first. Birthday parties, I wasn't invited to. Holiday dinners where I found out through social media that the family had gathered without me. Mom made excuses. "We thought you were busy with work." Victoria was planning something intimate. "You know how it is, sweetie." I did know. I wasn't polished enough, educated enough, sophisticated enough. I was the reminder of where we came from, and Marcus's new life required forgetting those roots entirely. I stopped attending family events even when I was invited. The tension, the judgment, the barely concealed embarrassment, it wasn't worth it. I focused on building my empire instead. What my family didn't know was that I'd stopped being a small-time landlord years ago. At 26, I'd partnered with a developer on a major mixed-use project in East Atlanta. My 18 properties became collateral for a much bigger play. The project succeeded beyond our projections. My 20% stake became worth almost $2 million. I reinvested everything. Aggressively. Commercial properties in emerging neighborhoods. A boutique hotel in Savannah. A shopping center in Athens. Partnership stakes in 3 luxury apartment complexes. My property management company, which I'd quietly purchased from Mr. Chen when he retired, now managed over 300 units for other investors. By 28, my real estate portfolio was valued at just over $8 million. My annual income from rents, partnerships, and management fees exceeded what Marcus made in 3 years. I still drove the Honda. Still lived in a modest condo. Still wore Target clothes. But I also owned a beach house in Hilton Head, a mountain cabin in North Carolina, and a penthouse in downtown Atlanta that I used maybe twice a month. My business partner, James, constantly told me I needed to live a little. You're worth $8 million, Maya. Buy yourself something nice. Take a vacation. Enjoy it. I am enjoying it, I'd tell him. I'm enjoying building something that lasts. The truth was simpler. I didn't need to prove anything to anyone. My bank account knew what I was worth. That was enough. Until the family reunion announcement. The group chat message came on a Wednesday evening in June. Marcus. Hey family, Victoria, and I want to host this year's Johnson family reunion. We found the perfect beach house in Tybee Island. Sleeps 20, right on the ocean. It's going to be amazing. Mom. Oh honey, that sounds wonderful. Dad. Count us in. When? Marcus. Last weekend in July. Victoria's already planning the whole thing. Catered meals, activities, the works. Aunt Joyce. Fancy. Can't wait. Cousin Derek. Sounds dope. I watched the messages roll in. Waited to see if I'd be included or if this would be another forgot to mention it situation. Then came the direct message. Just to me. Marcus. Hey Maya. So, about the reunion. Victoria and I talked, and this is awkward. But her family's beach house has a certain vibe. Very upscale. Very curated. And Victoria's parents are coming for a day. She's worried about, well, she thinks having you there might bring down the atmosphere. You know how you are with the urban style and everything. Nothing personal. Just want to keep things classy. I stared at my phone for a full minute. You know how you are. Urban style. Keep things classy. I could have written a novel with my response. Could have listed every property I owned, every zero in my bank account, every investment that proved I was more successful than Marcus would ever be. Instead, I typed 2 letters. Maya, okay. I screenshotted the message. Saved it. Then I made a phone call. James? Remember that Tybee Island property we looked at last year? The $8 million beachfront estate. The Hamilton house? Yeah. Owner's been trying to sell for months. Why? Make an offer. Full asking price. Cash. I want to close in 3 weeks. Maya, are you serious? Completely. And James? I want it furnished, staffed, and ready for guests by July 25th. What's happening on July 25th? I smiled. A family reunion. The Hamilton house wasn't just a beach house. It was an estate. Built in 1920 by a shipping magnate, renovated in 2018 by an Atlanta developer who'd run out of money, it sat on 3 acres of prime Tybee Island beachfront. 8 bedrooms. 10 bathrooms. Chef's kitchen. Infinity pool. Private beach access. Guest house. The works. The asking price was $8.2 million. I offered $8.3 million cash with a 3-week close. The seller accepted within 6 hours. I'd been building toward this moment for years without knowing it. Every property I bought, every investment I made, every dollar I saved, it had all been preparing me for the ability to make one decisive move. I hired the best estate manager in coastal Georgia. Margaret had run luxury properties for celebrities and tech executives. She came with a full staff, chef, housekeepers, groundskeepers, security. I need this ready for a family event, I told her. July 26th through 29th. 20 guests. I want everything perfect. Meals prepared. Rooms turned down. Beach activities available. Spa treatments bookable. The full luxury experience. Budget? Margaret asked. Whatever it takes. She smiled. I like clients who understand quality. The closing happened on July 7th. I signed the papers in my attorney's office, transferred the funds, and became the owner of one of the most exclusive properties on Tybee Island. Marcus had no idea. Mom had no idea. Victoria, who'd bragged in the group chat about her family's beach house, had no idea that the house she was planning to use for the reunion was now mine. Because here's the thing Victoria didn't understand about old money. They don't own beach houses in Tybee Island. They rent them. Her parents had been renting the Hamilton house for a week every summer for the past 5 years. When I called the previous owner to confirm the reservation cancellation, he was apologetic but clear. "I'm so sorry, but we've canceled all existing reservations due to the sale. The new owner is taking possession immediately." Victoria's mother had called him, apparently. Demanded to know why their reservation was canceled. He'd explained the property had sold. She'd asked to speak to the new owner about renting it anyway. He'd said he'd pass along the message. He never did, because I'd instructed him not to. The first crack in Victoria's plan came on July 10th. "Victoria, slight issue. The beach house we were going to use got sold. Like out of nowhere. So rude. But don't worry. I found another place. It's smaller but still nice. Only sleeps 12 though, so we'll have to be selective about who comes." "Mom." "Oh no. That's such short notice." "Marcus, it's fine. Victoria's handling it. New place is still great." "Aunt Joyce, smaller though? Where will everyone sleep?" "Victoria. That's why we have to be selective. Close family only. Marcus and I, his parents, my parents for their day visit, Aunt Joyce and Uncle Ron, Derek and his girlfriend. That's 10. We can squeeze in 2 more." I watched the politicking begin. Cousins lobbying for their spots. Aunt Joyce suggesting her daughter's family should come. Mom trying to navigate the suddenly complicated dynamics. Nobody mentioned me. Nobody said, "What about Maya?" Because I'd already been excluded before the house even sold. On July 15th, Victoria posted the official guest list. 12 people. Extended family who'd driven from 3 states away were suddenly uninvited. The group chat got quiet, resentful.
Cousin Tamika. Wow.
So much for a family reunion. Aunt Carol. I already bought plane tickets. Victoria. I'm so sorry. The new house is just smaller. Maybe next year we can plan something bigger. Marcus backed her up, of course. Kept saying it was about space, about logistics, about making sure everyone who came had a comfortable experience.
Not a single person asked about me.
Because in their minds, I'd already said no.
I was already out.
I waited until July 20th to make my move. I created a new group chat. Included everyone who'd been uninvited or overlooked. Aunt Carol, Cousin Tamika, and her family. Uncle Paul. My cousins from Florida. Even some extended family members who hadn't been included in the original reunion planning. Maya. Hey family. I know plans change for the reunion, and I know some of you aren't able to make it to Marcus and Victoria's gathering. I wanted to extend an invitation to a different reunion that same weekend. I've arranged accommodations at a beachfront property in Tybee Island. All inclusive. Meals provided. Beach access. Activities. No cost to you. Just come and enjoy. July 26th to 29th. Let me know if you're interested. The responses came fast. Aunt Carol. Maya. This is so generous. Are you serious? Cousin Tamika. OMG, yes. We'd love to come. Uncle Paul. What's the catch? Maya. No catch. Just want to see family. You all in? Within 2 hours, I had 15 confirmations. People Marcus and Victoria had excluded or overlooked. People who'd been told there wasn't enough room. I didn't tell them where we were staying. Just said I'd send details closer to the date. The word got back to Marcus, of course. The family network was too interconnected for it not to. He called me directly. First time he'd actually called in 6 months. Maya, what are you doing? Having a family reunion, I said calmly. You can't just. Victoria spent weeks planning this. You're dividing the family. Victoria divided the family when she uninvited half of them because her rental fell through. It's not her fault the house sold. I know, I said. Life's unpredictable like that. Where are you even staying? Some cheap motel. A beachfront property. It's handled. Maya. His voice took on that patronizing tone I knew so well. Look, I get that you're trying to do something nice. But you can't compete with what Victoria's planned. She's got catering, activities, a professional photographer. This isn't some budget reunion you can throw together. I'm aware. Then why are you doing this? Because family matters, Marcus. Even the ghetto parts. I hung up. He tried calling back. I didn't answer. Victoria posted in the main group chat an hour later. Victoria, I've heard there's some confusion about multiple reunions happening. Just to be clear, Marcus and I are hosting the official Johnson family reunion at our beach house in Tybee Island. Anyone attending Maya's event should know it's not affiliated with the family's main gathering. Mom. Victoria, I don't think Maya meant to cause problems. Victoria, I'm just clarifying. We've put a lot of work into this. I didn't respond. Didn't engage. Just sent my invited guests the address and details. The Hamilton House, 1247 Ocean Boulevard. Check-in Friday at 2 p.m. Nobody recognized the address. Why would they? It was just a beach house. Or so they thought. Friday, July 26th arrived with perfect weather. Sunny, 82 degrees, light ocean breeze. My guests started arriving at noon. Aunt Carol and Uncle Paul first. Then Cousin Tamika with her husband and 3 kids. Uncle Thomas from Florida. Cousin Derek's sister, Ashley, who'd been cut from the official reunion. More family members rolled in throughout the early afternoon. Each one had the same reaction when they saw the Hamilton house. Maya, this place is incredible. How did you afford this? Is this really where we're staying? I just smiled. Welcome home. Margaret and her staff handled everything flawlessly. Luggage carried to rooms. Welcome cocktails on the veranda. Fresh fruit and cheese platters. Kids immediately given beach toys and shown to the pool. By 2 o'clock, 15 family members were settled into the Hamilton house, marveling at the ocean views, the chef-prepared lunch, the sheer luxury of it all. At 2:47 p.m., I was in the kitchen with Margaret reviewing dinner plans when my phone buzzed. Marcus. Calling again. I let it go to voicemail. Then a text. Marcus. Maya, we have a problem. Victoria's parents' beach house address is 1247 Ocean Boulevard. We're pulling up now, and there are cars everywhere. Did you rent a house on the same street? This is so awkward. I looked at Margaret. They're here. She nodded. Should I have Charles handle it?
No.
I will. I walked out to the front entrance just as Marcus's Range Rover pulled into the circular driveway. Behind him, 2 more cars, Mom and Dad in one, Victoria's parents in the other. Marcus got out first. Saw the Hamilton house. Saw the cars. Saw the family members visible through the windows. His face went confused, then annoyed. Victoria stepped out of the passenger seat. Designer sundress. Oversized sunglasses. The picture of entitled wealth. She looked at me standing on the front steps. What are you doing here? Before I could answer, Margaret appeared beside me. Professional smile. Clipboard in hand. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Hamilton house. Are you here for the Johnson family reunion? Victoria's face went blank.
What? No.
This is my parents' beach house. We have a reservation. Margaret's smile never wavered. I'm afraid there's been some confusion. The Hamilton house is no longer available for reservations. It was sold earlier this month. I'm the estate manager for the new owner. Mom had gotten out of the car now.
Dad, too.
They were walking up, looking confused. Sold. Victoria's voice pitched higher. That's impossible. My mother has rented this house for 5 years. I understand that must be frustrating, Margaret said smoothly. But the previous owner did cancel all existing reservations upon the sale. I believe he attempted to contact all affected parties. Victoria's mother, an elegant woman named Patricia, who I'd met exactly once at Marcus and Victoria's wedding, approached. There must be some mistake. We confirmed this reservation months ago. With the previous owner, yes, Margaret confirmed. But the property has new ownership now. Well, who's the new owner? Patricia demanded. I'd like to speak with them directly. This is completely unacceptable. Margaret turned slightly, gestured to me. Miss Johnson is the owner. The silence was profound. Marcus stared. Mom's mouth fell open. Dad looked like he'd been slapped. Victoria went pale. Patricia looked from me to Margaret to the house. I'm sorry, who? Maya Johnson, Margaret said. She purchased the property on July 7th. She's hosting a family reunion this weekend. Victoria found her voice first.
Shrill. Panicked.
That's impossible. Maya doesn't have this kind of money. This house is worth millions. This is some kind of joke. I spoke for the first time.
Calm.
Level. It's not a joke, Victoria. And you're right. The house is worth millions. 8.3 million to be exact. I paid cash. Marcus shook his head. Maya, stop. This isn't funny. I'm not joking, Marcus. You're a property manager. You can't afford. I own a property management company. I corrected. Along with a real estate portfolio worth $8 million. The Hamilton house is my personal residence now. Well, one of them. Mom's voice came out strangled. $8 million? I nodded. Aunt Carol appeared in the doorway behind me. She'd heard everything. Maya, sweetheart, is everything okay? Everything's fine, Aunt Carol. Just some confusion about the address. Victoria was spiraling now. Her carefully planned reunion, her parents' impressed friends, the image she'd curated, all of it evaporating. You can't just buy a house out from under us. I didn't buy it from under you, I said. I bought it from the owner. You were renting. The sale canceled your rental. That's how property transactions work. Patricia was staring at me like I'd grown a second head. You're Marcus's sister. The one who works in property management. Owns, I corrected. I own a property management company. Johnson Property Group. We manage over 300 units across Georgia. I also own commercial properties in Atlanta, a hotel in Savannah, and partnership stakes in several luxury developments. Plus this house and 2 others. Dad finally spoke. Maya, how, when? I've been building this for 10 years, Dad. Since I was 18. Victoria turned to Marcus. You said she was broke. You said she couldn't even afford to come to our wedding properly dressed. I'd worn a simple black dress to their wedding. From Target. Cost $40. It had been perfectly appropriate. Marcus's face flushed. I didn't. I thought. You thought because I drove an old car and didn't wear designer clothes that I was poor. I finished. You mistook strategy for failure. Margaret, sensing the tension, cleared her throat gently. Ms. Johnson, your guests are gathering for welcome cocktails. Should I let Chef Thomas know you'll be delayed? I'll be right there. I turned back to my family. You're welcome to come in. There's plenty of room. Aunt Carol and the others would love to see you. Victoria made a strangled sound.
Come in.
To MY family's house. Your family's former rental property, I corrected. My house now. Patricia pulled out her phone. I'm calling Richard. The owner. He'll straighten this out. Richard Peterson? I asked. Feel free. Tell him Maya Johnson says hello. He was very gracious during the sale. She made the call. Stepped away. We could all hear her side of the conversation. Richard, this is Patricia Hamilton. There's been some terrible mistake.
What?
She's who? You sold it to Marcus's sister? Why didn't you tell us? When she came back, her face had lost its color. He confirmed it, she said quietly. The sale was legitimate. Victoria sat down on the front steps. Actually sat down. Put her head in her hands. This can't be happening. Cousin Tamika appeared in the doorway now. Then Uncle Paul. Ashley. More family members, drawn by the commotion. Maya? Mom's voice was small. I don't understand. Why didn't you tell us? Tell you what, Mom? That I was successful? You never asked. You never wanted to know what I was doing with my life. You were too busy being embarrassed by me. We weren't embarrassed. Marcus told me not to come to this reunion because I was too ghetto for Victoria's beach house vibe. Direct quote. I have the text. I pulled out my phone. Showed the screenshot. Mom read it. Her face crumbled. Marcus stepped forward. Maya, I didn't mean. Victoria was just worried about how I'd make her look, I finished. I know. That's why I bought the house. Because I realized something, Marcus. You're so worried about looking successful that you never bothered to actually become successful. You make good money. That's it. You're still paying off your condo. Your Range Rover is leased. Victoria's trust fund is what affords your lifestyle. Victoria's head snapped up. How dare you? I'm not saying it to be cruel. I'm saying it because it's true. There's nothing wrong with your life, Marcus. But there is something wrong with excluding family because they don't match your aesthetic. Dad was looking at the house, at the luxury cars in the driveway, at the family members visible inside. You own this.
Ido.
And the reunion inside is for the family members who were excluded from the official reunion. Aunt Carol.
Tamika.
Ashley. People who weren't upscale enough for the curated experience. Margaret spoke again, gently. Ms. Johnson, I don't mean to rush you, but your guests are waiting. I nodded, looked at my family one more time. You're all welcome to stay. There's room. We have 8 bedrooms, and only 4 are occupied. Chef's preparing dinner for 20. There's more than enough. Stay. Victoria's voice was hollow. In my family's house. In MY house, I corrected. We're guests, not hosts.
Can you handle that?
The question hung in the air. Patricia was the first to break. I think we need to find alternative accommodations. Mom, Victoria started.
No, Victoria.
This is humiliating enough.
Patricia looked at me.
I apologize for the assumption that you couldn't afford this property. That was inappropriate. I nodded, accepted the apology. Marcus looked torn, looking between Victoria and me, between his wife and his sister. Mom was crying now. Quiet tears. Maya, I'm so sorry. We had no idea. You had no idea because you never asked, Mom. You just assumed. Can we talk? Inside. I considered it, then nodded. Of course.
Come in.
Victoria's parents left. They couldn't handle the reversal. Patricia actually apologized again before she left, which surprised me. Victoria herself stood frozen on the front steps for 10 minutes before Marcus finally convinced her to leave. She couldn't even look at me, just got in the Range Rover and stared straight ahead while Marcus backed out of the driveway. But Mom and Dad stayed. I brought them inside. The family members who'd already arrived greeted them warmly, oblivious to the drama that had just unfolded outside. To them, it was just Ron and Sheila Johnson arriving at their niece's incredible beach house. We sat on the veranda. Margaret brought iced tea. The ocean stretched out before us. Dad spoke first. $8 million. 8.3 for this house. I corrected. My total portfolio is around 8 million. Some of that's equity, some liquid, some tied up in partnerships. Mom was still processing. Hell, Maya? How did you do this without us knowing? I worked. I saved. I invested every dollar I could. Mr. Chin taught me about real estate and I ran with it. Started with a duplex, built from there. It's taken 10 years. 10 years, Dad repeated. Since you were 18. Since I was 18. And we thought. Mom couldn't finish the sentence. You thought I was failing because I didn't follow Marcus's path. Because I went to community college instead of Georgia Tech. Because I worked in property management instead of getting an engineering degree. Because I drove an old car and wore Target clothes. You still drive that Honda, Dad said. It runs fine. Why replace it? He almost smiled. That's practical.
I'm practical, Dad.
Always have been. I just don't perform wealth the way Marcus and Victoria do. Mom was looking around the house. At the marble floors, the ocean view windows, the expensive art on the walls. This is real. This is really yours. It is. And you let us exclude you. Let us treat you like I was an embarrassment. I finished gently.
Yeah,
I did. Because I wanted to see who you all really were when you thought I had nothing. That hit hard. I saw it in Dad's face. That's not fair, Maya. Isn't it? Marcus told me not to come because I was too ghetto. He didn't defend me when Victoria made that judgment. You didn't question it. Mom, you didn't even ask if I was okay being excluded. Silence. Then Mom said, "You're right. We failed you. I failed you." The admission hung in the air. Aunt Carol appeared in the doorway. "Maya, honey, sorry to interrupt, but Chef wants to know if your parents are staying for dinner." I looked at them. "Are you?" Mom nodded. "If you'll have us." Of course. They stayed. Dinner was a seafood feast: grilled mahi-mahi, shrimp scampi, roasted vegetables, fresh bread. Chef Thomas outdid himself. The whole extended family gathered around the massive dining table, laughing and telling stories. Mom and Dad were quiet, observing, seeing me in a completely different light. After dinner, Uncle Paul pulled me aside. "Your mama told me what happened outside, with Marcus and his wife." "Yeah. That took guts, baby girl. Standing your ground like that." "I'm tired of shrinking myself for people who wouldn't do the same for me." He nodded. "Your granddaddy would be proud. He always said you had steel in you." That meant more than he knew. Saturday morning, Marcus came back. Alone this time. Victoria stayed at whatever hotel they'd found. I was on the beach with Cousin Tamika's kids, helping them build sandcastles, when I saw him walking across the sand. Tamika saw him too. "Want me to tell him to leave?"
No.
"It's okay." Marcus stopped a few feet away, hands in his pockets, looking uncomfortable. Hey, can we talk?" I stood up, brushed sand off my hands. "Sure." We walked down the beach, away from the house. "Victoria's a mess," he said finally. "Her parents are furious. Her mother's humiliated. The whole plan for the reunion, for impressing her family's friends, it's destroyed." "I'm sorry about that." He looked at me sharply. "Are you?" "I'm sorry she's hurting. I'm not sorry for buying this house or hosting the family she excluded. Maya, you have to understand, Victoria comes from a certain world. Image matters to her. Status matters." "I understand that perfectly, Marcus. What I don't understand is why you let that world make you ashamed of your own sister." He stopped walking. "I'm not ashamed of you." "Too ghetto." "Your words." I was trying to keep the peace with Victoria by throwing me under the bus. He didn't have a response to that. We walked in silence for a while. The ocean waves filled the space between us. Finally, Marcus spoke again. "How did you do it?" "Really? Worked hard. Saved aggressively. Made smart investments. Learned from people who knew more than me. Stayed focused. While we were judging you." "While you were judging me?" I confirmed. "I thought you were struggling. The old car, the cheap clothes, the small condo. I thought you were barely getting by." I was barely getting by in my 20s when I was building the foundation. But I've been thriving for years now. You just never asked. You never told us. I stopped walking, turned to face him. "Marcus, when was the last time you asked me how I was doing? Really asked, not just polite conversation. When was the last time you took an interest in my life that wasn't about comparing it to yours?" He couldn't answer. That's what I thought.
Maya, I'm sorry. I really am.
I got caught up in Victoria's world, in trying to fit in with her family. I lost sight of what matters, which is family, real family, not the image of family. I wanted to believe him.
Part of me did.
But the hurt was still too fresh. "I appreciate the apology, Marcus. But I need you to understand something. I'm not going to keep making myself smaller so other people feel bigger. Not for Victoria. Not for her parents. Not for anyone. This is who I am. Successful, wealthy, and yes, still urban by whatever definition Victoria uses. If that embarrasses you, that's your problem to solve." "It doesn't embarrass me. It did 2 weeks ago." He flinched. "I'm not saying we can't rebuild our relationship," I continued. "But it has to be on honest terms. No more pretending I'm less than I am. No more excluding me because I don't match an aesthetic." Okay.
Yeah.
You're right. About all of it." He looked back at the Hamilton house, visible in the distance. "This place is incredible, by the way." "Thanks." "You really paid cash?" "Really did." He shook his head. $8 million in 10 years. That's remarkable, Maya. It's what happens when you focus on building wealth instead of performing it. He actually laughed at that.
Ouch.
Truth hurts sometimes. We walked back toward the house. The family was gathering for breakfast on the veranda, another Chef Thomas masterpiece. Are you staying? I asked. Do you want me to? If you can handle not being the most successful person in the room for once. He smiled. Sad, but genuine. I think I can manage that. The reunion weekend became legendary in our family. Not because of the drama, though that story got told and retold at every gathering for years, but because it shifted everything. Marcus and I rebuilt our relationship slowly. It took time. Victoria never fully came around, but Marcus stopped letting her dictate his relationship with his family. They're still together, still navigating their differences, but he's clearer now about boundaries. Mom and Dad visited me in Atlanta 3 months later. Saw my real condo, my office, met my business partner James. Dad actually cried when he saw the wall of property deeds in my office. I'm so proud of you, he said, and I'm so sorry I didn't see this sooner. You see it now, I said. That's what matters. I ended up keeping the Hamilton house. It became the official Johnson family reunion location. Every summer, the whole extended family gathers there.
No exclusions.
No curated guest lists. Just family. Aunt Carol brings her famous potato salad. Uncle Paul mans the grill. Cousin Tamika's kids rule the beach. We're loud, chaotic, messy, and absolutely ghetto by Victoria's standards. And it's perfect. The business kept growing. By 30, my portfolio hit 12 million. By 32, I was featured in Atlanta Business Chronicle's 30 Under 30 issue. Marcus framed the article.
Put it in his office.
My sister, he tells people now. She's a real estate mogul. The funny part? I still drive the Honda. Still shop at Target sometimes. Still live modestly most of the time. Because I learned something important during those years of being dismissed and excluded. Your worth isn't determined by other people's perception. It's determined by what you build when nobody's watching. I built an empire while they thought I was failing. And when they finally saw the truth, it wasn't about proving them wrong. It was about proving myself right. The beach house sits empty most of the year. Margaret maintains it beautifully. I use it maybe once a month for weekend getaways. Sometimes I bring dates there. They're always impressed. Sometimes I go alone and sit on the veranda with a book and the ocean. But my favorite times are those reunion weekends, when the whole family descends and the house fills with laughter and arguments and love. When kids run through the halls and someone's always complaining about the music being too loud. When we're just us. No pretense. No performance. Just the Johnson family, ghetto roots and all, gathering in an $8 million beach house that none of them ever saw coming. Marcus pulled me aside during last summer's reunion. We were on the beach, watching the sunset. You know what the craziest part is? He asked. What? I make 6 figures.
Have a great job.
Live in a nice condo. By any objective measure, I'm successful. You are successful. But I spent so much energy trying to look successful that I never actually built anything. You built an empire. I built an image. It's not too late to build something real, I said. I know. I'm starting. Small investments. Real estate, actually. Following your model. I smiled. Want some advice? Always. Stop worrying about what Victoria's parents think. Start worrying about what you'll think in 10 years when you look back at the choices you made today. He nodded. That's good advice. I learned it the hard way. We stood there in comfortable silence, brother and sister, watching the sun sink into the Atlantic. The family called us back for dinner. Chef Thomas had outdone himself again, this time with a low country boil that fed 30 people. As I walked back toward the house, toward the noise and chaos and love, I thought about that text from Marcus 2 years ago. Too ghetto for her beach house vibe. I looked at the Hamilton house. My house. My achievement. My proof. And I smiled. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't proving them wrong. It's proving yourself right.